Good morning, YouTube. Today, we're going to review a Ferrari FF.
So are you recording all of the nefarious activities?
If you're new to the channel, my name is Dan, and this is my garage, and this is my friend's Ferrari FF. And we're going to review it today, and let me tell you, well, first of all, I mean, it's kind of hard to fit in frame. It's a big car. This is a big car. This might be the biggest car I've ever put in my garage. These things are epic. So we're going to tell you all about this amazing car. We're going to take it out for a drive. It's going to be fun. But real quick, if you want to support the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. But better yet, go to normalguysupercar.com. There you can buy parts and services for your car, including Ferrari FFs. So we got stuff for this. And actually, here's a little thing. This car may or may not be for sale. The owner's not sure yet. So if you're interested in this car, you can talk to us. We could probably figure out some sort of deal. Hit us up, sales@ngsupercars.com. The price is right. He's willing to let it go, but he's on the fence because, I mean, yeah, this is a pretty well-spec'd car. I'll show you that right now. So we've got a 2013 Ferrari FF. So if you didn't know, the Ferrari FF, the FF stands for Ferrari 4. And it's because it's a 4-seat and it's 4-wheel drive, and this was the first 4-wheel drive production Ferrari. So this sucker is the V12. It is amazing, and we'll show you that engine in a second, and it's glorious. But let's talk about some of the interesting things about this particular instance. So it's actually got a Expel Stealth wrap on it. So this is not what you'd see for the factory paint. It's kind of a matte look. So you can see it's not really reflecting. It doesn't have the glossy finish on it. It's actually really cool. Of course, that's going to protect this thing, so that's a good thing to have on this car. But other than that, I believe it's got a Novatec valve controller. Everything else is stock. I'm getting a nod, so that's yes. So you'll notice this is quite a lot larger than, for example, the Gallardo over there, which, you know, the Gallardo is actually a really small supercar. This is, of course, a much larger Grand Touring car and, well, you know, 4 seats. So there you go. But funny enough, this is actually about the same size as a Ferrari F12. It's effectively the same platform. It's the same engine, although the F12, they actually put a little bit more horsepower in it. Black wrap on the roof. So again, this is not the factory color. And I'll show you the trunk in a second. We'll have to open the garage door to be able to open the trunk because, well, again, this is a big beast. We've got 20-inch wheels in the rear with the Pirellis. Quite a lot of tire in the back, 295s, and then up front, oh yeah, we got the Scuderia shield. These are 20s as well. These are 245s up front. So you can see this is the original Bianco Italia paint, so this is not wrapped, but then over here you can see here's where the stealth wrap starts, and then it kind of goes into like a non-gloss matte finish. So this, believe it or not, this paint option was $27,000. In fact, this car is so highly optioned, the original MSRP on it was almost $430,000. It's crazy. Another thing that we're going to talk about this car is that this is one of the higher mileage examples because this car gets driven, all right, and that's why it doesn't have any problems. It has over 60,000 miles on it, which is epic. All right, so under the hood, we've got the Ferrari 6.2-liter V12 engine, and this thing puts out 650 horsepower and 500 foot-pounds of torque. It is an absolute monster. This is the same engine block that they're using all the way from the Ferrari Enzo to today. So this engine block is their current production block. It is still used today. They still produce cars with this engine today. Of course, they've modified it multiple times. So it started off as a 6-liter engine. It's all the way up to a 6.5-liter engine. It's also gone from around 8,000 RPMs to now they spin these suckers up to 9,500 RPMs. It's absolutely insane. And they have these producing over 800 horsepower in its current version. So this is an amazing engine. It's obviously well designed. It's effectively the same thing that's in the 599, the Enzo, the FF, the F12, the 812, even the Monza, and what is it, SP2 and SP1s, and a couple other cars. So the FXX, the FXXK, the Enzo. I mean, this thing's in everything. So this is one hell of a platform, and it's a very stout, very robust engine. Does not have hardly anything go wrong with it. So this is an amazing design, and obviously they've been using it for almost 2 decades now, so it's quite a strong platform. So while we're under the hood, we're going to talk about the front wheel drive. So this is actually a not really true four-wheel drive system in its sense. So it does not have like a transfer case and all that stuff. So basically what they do is they actually have 2 gearboxes. It's crazy. So they have the transmission in the rear, which is your primary transmission, which is effectively the same transmission that's in the Ferrari 458, the California, and a few other cars. So it's a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. What they've done is they take a second transmission that comes off the front of the engine. I'm not kidding. It's a 2-speed transmission. You only have 2 gears, and it only gets used from 1st through 4th gear on the rear transmission. So obviously that means it's going to be running at a different speed, and what they do is they effectively slip the clutch the entire time. It's crazy. And so what that means is it allows the computers to kind of set up different distributions of power, so it can vary how much power is put to the front wheels, to the rear wheels. Most of the time, if you switch it to like race mode, it's 100% rear. But if you drive in comfort mode or in like slick mode or anything that's, where you'd want four-wheel drive, that's when it actually does use the four-wheel drive system. So it's not really designed for high performance, like crazy track driving. It's more of safety and control when you're on slick roads and stuff, which means this car is really suited for daily driving. All right, so we're gonna pop the rear. Oh, ooh, it's all electronic. So here is where this car is actually, believe it or not, a practical Ferrari. Yes, it is a real thing. So you can actually fit groceries in here, and there's a lot of space to even have, like, this thing comes up, there's a little panel underneath. And we got tie-down straps, you can see. So this thing can actually fit a full load of groceries. You could probably fit a couple dead bodies. I mean, this is legit. This is a legit back end of a Ferrari. Now, people either love or hate the fact that this is a hatchback, so it is a 3-door. And again, people love it or hate it. The shooting brake design is something you either love or hate. I personally think it looks really, really good. So I'm a huge fan of this, and I love the fact that it's got this practical rear trunk capability. Oh, and then we're gonna close it. Ooh, look at that, automatic. Oh yeah, look at that. So these all fold down. Holy crap. Yeah, it's legit a practical Ferrari. I can't, like, you can fit skis in there. Golf clubs, no problem. Christmas tree, we got it. Even like a giant flat screen TV, oh yeah, we're gonna get that in there. Okay, since it's a 4-seater, I'm gonna start off sitting in the back seats, because believe it or not, these are real back seats. This is not like a bullshit, like 2+2. No, these are real seats. Okay, so I'm in the back of the car, and yeah, it's not the most spacious, but I'm sitting fully upright. My head is not touching the ceiling. I actually have room for my knees. My knees are not even touching the seat, and the seat is in the driving position. I mean, yeah, you actually have some decent room. Now, obviously, that seat's scooched a little bit further back, but there's a ton of room up front for it to move forward a little bit. Yeah, this is a legitimate rear seat. By the way, gotta love the quilted seat pattern on these seats. Holy crap. This blue interior is just epic. Oh, hey, look, we even have storage space in the rear. And unlike most other Ferraris, we have cup holders. Holy crap, we can actually throw some cups in here. So we had to show you this. The oh shit handle is actually a leather strap, and look at, it's got a little magnet. So it automatically flops up. Of course, Ferrari wouldn't give you like some chintzy plastic oh shit handle. No, we've got a legitimate one. Okay, so the interior of this thing actually has a very rare, very expensive option, is the blue carbon fiber. So this is actually carbon fiber. It also has the second display. So those are some pretty expensive options. It has full cameras all over the place, so we're not like trying to guess where the parking, stops are and things like that. This has the 7-speed transmission that is the dual clutch transmission that is effectively the same one that's in the 458. So it's going to behave like a 458 with regards to shifting. Got the shift lights. Basically, this is the 458 generation of steering wheel. So it's looking the same. It's got the same button placement, the same Mantino. All the controls, if you've driven a 458, look identical. In fact, even the dashboard looks basically identical to a 458. Even the controls over here, although we have pit speed, which is basically Ferrari's version of cruise control. So you set a pit speed and you can basically do cruise control, which is kind of nice. You'll notice something different on the Mantino. It has sport, comfort, wet, and then a snowflake. Believe it or not, Ferrari thinks you can drive this thing in the snow, and well, the owner has proven that during snowpocalypse last year in Texas, he drove it in the snow and it did just fine. There you go. Proof that this thing can actually drive in the snow. All right, YouTube, enough talking. Let's get out and drive this thing, because it is awesome. We want to see all 650 of those horsepowers out of that V12. So apparently this does not just have a front axle lift, it has a full car axle lift, so we're gonna demonstrate that. Holy crap. It is all 4 wheels. Jeez, it's still going. There it is. That's nuts. I had no idea that it was all 4 wheels. That is cool. All right, in the FF. Ooh, the steering wheel automatically adjusted. Okay, yes. Parking sensors. Identical gauge cluster to the 458, effectively. Looks the same. So that's gonna be super familiar. So interesting enough, it does kind of more of the automatic transmission where it'll start rolling when you release the brake versus the 458 does not go until you give it gas. So already I can tell you, you can feel the front wheel drive system in the steering wheel. It just creates a little slight bit of drag in the steering wheel. It resists you just the tiniest bit compared to like the 458 is very smooth and linear, but it still has that same kind of feeling. Like it's got the same, probably literally the same power steering system or something, but it feels, I mean, yeah, you just can just barely notice. You would never notice it if you haven't driven a 458, but if you've driven a 458 and then you go to this, I can feel it just resist the tiniest bit. It's also just slightly more vague. I mean, it's a big car. This is a big car. We're gonna feel that weight. It's well over 1,000 pounds heavier than a 458. So the real catch is gonna be, are we gonna be able to feel that 500 foot-pounds of torque once we kind of start playing a bit? Also, I noticed it has seat coolers, so it's got vented seats. I can feel that in my back right now. I love, that is a Texas option that is required. Let me tell you, having had that in my truck now, I'm like, I will not own any cars that don't own or don't have that feature in the future because it is just glorious, absolutely glorious. Transmission behaves just like the 458, just as snappy. Downshifts, upshifts really quick. And we're only, we're not even really playing yet, so you can already tell it's going to be really snappy once we start kind of getting out and having some fun. Yeah, a lot more power at your foot. What is it, 8250 RPM red line. Of course, we got that V12 sound. Perfection. This is what, gotta get in front of them in case they go the same way. Holy shit, that's a lot of power. That was only like 3/4. Oh crap, this is gonna be fun. All right, we're hitting my bumpy section, so this is kind of testing how this thing feels on a really shitty road. And so it's actually quite smooth already. Some bigger bumps up here. Yeah, you don't feel like it's maintaining its composure very nicely. The body isn't bouncing around much. You don't feel it jarring you. It's really quite smooth. It's very pleasant suspension. And we're in sport mode. Oh, and I have bumpy road mode. I'm gonna turn that on. So let's make it even smoother. Oh yeah, this is pleasant. Very nice. Yeah, it's handling this road very well. Totally comfortable. Quite pleased with that. All right, we're exiting the road onto my favorite section of the drive. All right. Now let's have some fun. All right, let's see what 650 horsepower feels like. Holy shit! Oh my God, we spun those rear tires, man. Holy shit. This is a heavy car and it's scooting like it's a little sports car. This is incredible.
Very much a Ferrari.
Yeah, there is 100% Ferrari pedigree in here. We're already caught up to them. Oh my Lord. I may have exceeded the speed limit by like 1 or 2 miles an hour there, and let me tell you, it got to that speed really, really quick. In fact, I was reading 0 to 60 is 3.7 seconds. That's absurd, absolutely insane for a car this big. Holy shit, that is a lot of power. I mean, I knew it was gonna be powerful, but that's ridiculous. Oh my God, this guy is going 20 miles an hour. Yeah, the handling is, I mean, again, you feel the weightiness of the car, but it's very, very direct. Look, it's not going to be as precise as a 458. It's not a mid-engine car. It's not going to have the same balance. Well, it is technically a front mid, so it does have good balance, but it's not going to be like the same feeling. I mean, you're going to feel it. It's going to take a moment for the car to transition into a turn from all that weight shifting, but there's like zero body roll, and it did. I mean, the cornering is just, it's incredible for this big of a car. Oh, so much power at your foot. And it just, that sound, that Ferrari V12 is just, I'm kind of digging this car a lot. Like, this is the ultimate daily driver. If you want, like, I want to go pick up groceries and get the kids from school, but do it in style, comfort, with a shit ton of power, this is it.
That's exactly what I do.
Exactly. I'm going to argue this could be the world's greatest daily driver. I mean, prove me wrong. Tell me some other cars. What would be a better daily driver than this? I mean, okay, the only negative I can think of, well, two negatives. One, gas. It's going to get shit mileage. Let's just clear the air there. It's a 6.2 liter V12 with 650 horsepower and all-wheel drive. Your gas mileage is going to be shit. If you're lucky, you might be able to get near 20. I'm assuming it probably gets somewhere around like in the teens.
This is definitely a miles per gallon car.
Yeah. Miles per gallon is very high though. The other thing I can think of is for a daily driver, the insurance is probably very steep. But that would be my concern, is just the costs of it could be pretty catastrophic for a daily driver. Then again, you know, like we're talking about the ultimate daily driver, maybe price is not a concern. Well, here you go. This is that car. This transmission was replaced, so it did suffer from one of those rare DCT issues. I know people talk about all the time, oh my God, the DCT, This one did have one of those problems. They tried to fix it a couple times, couldn't fix it. It was still under warranty. The transmission got replaced. In fact, this car, even though we have over 60,000 miles, hold on, we have 63,400 miles on it, and it's still under warranty. So the optional extension on the warranty was bought. It's still good for another year. V12 Ferrari 4-seat daily driver with the warranty. Like, just saying that makes it, it's like, what world are we living in here? I apologize that we're not hauling ass, but we got stuck behind the world's slowest car on my fun roads. Yeah, look at this. Zero body roll, feels completely planted. And we're caught up again. God! It's just hauls so much ass. You just don't expect it from a car this big. I guess you just forget, oh yeah, there's a giant engine under the hood. This is not the smoothest, most ideal road to be scooting around corners on, and it's just taking it fine. Like, one thing I noticed about some of the lighter cars is when they hit bumps, they really get disrupted. And by having this extra weight, they've set up the suspension such that, like, you hit these bumps where, I mean, this is, again, a bumpy road, and it just perfectly plants out on these corners. Now, granted, we're not anywhere near the limits because we're on the street, but, you know, we are giving it some fun. And that's another cool thing about this car is, even though it's a Ferrari, it doesn't, like, punch you in the face telling you it's a Ferrari. I mean, okay, if you look at the logo, you see the Ferrari logo, you see that it says Ferrari, and obviously it's got the Scuderia shields and stuff, but the looks of it aren't outrageous such that, you know, people are going to be coming down the street being like, oh my God, it's a Ferrari. Like, so if you kind of want to be a little bit more incognito, you can. In a color like this, with this kind of matte white color, it's not sticking out in like some bright Rosso Corsa Ferrari, you know, everyone going, oh my God, it's a Ferrari. Most people probably have no clue what they're looking at when they see this thing, just because they're like,
wait, it's a hatchback. And people will be like, Ferrari doesn't make a hatchback. Ferrari doesn't make a 4-seat. Well, yes, they do. This is a fairly rare car. They only made 2,100 and something of them. So like under 2,200 FFs were ever made. Barely more than Ferrari Scuderias. In fact, if you take Ferrari Scuderias and Ferrari 16Ms and combine them, that's how rare this car is. It's almost the same production numbers.
So allegedly the only one in North America with this spec.
I can see that. The blue carbon is such a rare spec, so this is theoretically a one of one in this spec in the US, probably in the world. Blue carbon is a very rare option. It's extremely expensive option in these cars. God, I can feel it trying to struggle to get traction at first. It reminds me of the F12. The F12 has that just I want to kill you feeling, but it's a little bit more stable than the F12. You know, the F12 really, it wants to kill you. When you try and stab the gas in the F12 and it's all over the place. It's like I'm trying to kill you. This thing is pretty easy. It went in straight line and really, I mean, I could feel the tires breaking loose. The traction control light was blinking at me like crazy, but held fine. On the highway, again, planted, smooth. Look at this. We'll go into 7th gear. We can cruise. By the way, the top speed of this thing, 208 miles an hour. It's insane. 7th gear, we're going the speed limit about 65, 70 miles an hour. It's barely above 2,000 RPM. So they've geared it completely differently than the 458. The 458 has very, very short gears. So when you're on the highway in the 458 going about this speed, you're close to like 3.5, almost 4,000 RPMs. Yeah, these seats, they have decent bolsters, so you're not sliding around. At the same time, they're very plush and comfy. I feel like I'm in a Lexus, just with a lot more power and excitement. Yeah, you ain't doing that in a Lexus. Funny thing about these is they're undervalued, in my opinion. I mean, you're basically taking an F12, adding 2 seats and a hatchback, and suddenly no one wants it. So the prices on these things are super cheap. I shouldn't say cheap. They're cheaper than you expect, because, I mean, it's still not cheap. They're all in the 6 figures. They have gone up a decent amount in the last year. So for a while, you could actually find these cars under $100,000. That does not exist anymore. They are all 130 to 180, even 200s for some of those super low mile, high option ones.
Oh, shit.
That was awesome. Totally broke loose. Yeah, it's a totally different feeling than the launch in the F12, because the all-wheel drive starts to kind of pull it a little bit. It's way more controlled than the launch of the F12. The F12 is squirrely as hell. You know, you're fighting it and everything, but that was really easy control. I mean, we launched it in a slight curve, no problem, didn't get really loose. I mean, it did obviously spin the tires and had to fight it a little bit, but totally reasonable. And then you can feel it just assisting you, which is kind of nice. So gave you a little bit of room to play, but enough room to have some fun. It's just got so much torque down low compared to the V8 Ferraris. You know, the V8 Ferraris, if you don't spin them up to like 5,000 RPMs, they're kind of weak. You want a Ferrari, but you still want to have practicality. This is it.
Well, YouTube, there you have it. The Ferrari FF is, I'm still gonna say this, I think is the undisputed champion of daily drivers. This is the ultimate daily driver in my opinion. 650 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque, all-wheel drive, 4 seats, and it's a Ferrari with the handling of a Ferrari. That is pretty epic. Although, again, love it or hate it, love or hate the look, I don't know. I think it looks fantastic. I really like this car. I like it a lot. I'm not surprised, but at the same time, I'm kind of surprised at how much I liked it. I've driven the Lusso before, but it was the V8 Lusso. I had not driven the V12. So this is my first time in the V12, you know, FF platform, the 4-seat platform. And it It's a fantastic car. It really is. So anyway, again, if you're interested in this one, it's kind of possibly for sale. Owner's not sure. So send us an email, sales@ngsupercar.com. We might be able to work something out. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? And if not, well, whatever. He'll just keep it and be content. But other than that, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. And please go visit normalguysupercar.com. There you can buy parts and services for your supercar, including these lights. Yeah, we have, see all those boxes over there? Those are about 20 of these lights that are in stock right now. So go order some of those. You can use the code NGS10. It hooks you up with 10% off each of those kits. But we're going to be doing a lot more cool car stuff, so you're going to want to stay tuned. It's going to be sweet.